All right, we're back for our final feature match of the evening here for week 3, and we got Spaghetti Mitch here. He almost always plays in at least one feature match per league, and he's up against Jack, who's also playing his first feature match of this league, but he played 3 in the last league. So Raphael's going to tell us a bit about what he's holding in his hand here.
Jack's holding a few magic cards. On the front,
Right.
there's art. No,
Good to
outside
know.
the lands he has down now, he has no more lands. So he
Okay.
does have the Brine Fang to go island searching, but he went for the Spyglass Siren. Outside of that, it's Cooped Up, Petrify, a Keeper of Fables, and the Galvanic Giant from Woe.
All
It's a
right.
seed core drawn for turn.
So yeah, Mitch he has a few losses here. He's off to a bit of a slow start here at 4-8. That just means he's got a bunch of interesting cards from out of the set here. Um, First of them being the Kite Sail Corsair in play, and he has a bunch of cards from other sets in his hand. He has a Dusk Legion Zealot, which is a 2-mana 1/1 that draws a card. He has Vengeful Strangler from Midnight Hunt, Blink of an Eye, which is a pretty ubiquitous card from Dominaria, and from this set he has a Rampaging Spiketail and some lands. So a decent little hand here. He has one piece of interaction. He has a 1/6 drop, and he's got 2 drops that give some value here. So the
This
Vengeful
might be
Strangler
awkward.
dies and comes back as an aura that makes you sacrifice the creature on the next turn.
Now, interestingly enough, Jack can always just petrify or cooped up that, so he doesn't have to deal with it. He
Yeah.
did draw a Cloud Guard for the turn. He did scry one away earlier.
Okay. So looks like he's got a bit of an interesting mana base going over there with all the colors he's playing with. So cooped up, interestingly, it only takes away half of the the strangler already can't block to start with, but now it cannot attack. So got some nice little value creatures going here, and a 2/1 that it has flying when on your turn or when it's attacking.
Ooh, now
So
I would assume the Giants the first one to go.
yeah, that card was like very middling. Is that the one?
Yeah,
Is that the one with a 7-mana adventure?
but Jack's gonna go for the seed core, and it's probably for the
Which
best.
card was that? The
Storm the seed core
oh, okay.
from Mom.
So it looks like he's firmly in at least 3 colors here: green, blue, and white. But I I trust his build, I suppose. I mean, Jack is pretty new to our server. It's like his 4th league, but he's been all over the server. He's streaming. He's chatting with people. He's making the making the finals of the most recent mega draft. So yeah, we're happy to see him in the feature match. And we know Mitch, a longtime leaguer, ran the side events for quite a while, and a frequent broadcast partner of mine. So happy to have both of them here. And the game's a little slow in development here. You know, you don't really like playing waylaying pirates as a 4-mana 3/3 with no text, but better than not casting a spell for turn.
Yeah, Jack wanted to throw down the Keeper Fables there, but missing that second green.
Oh,
So playing the
that's
frog instead.
a cat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite the card.
It's a
It's a
cat
big
that
cat.
draws cards when non-humans deal damage. Though the Ultec Cloud Guard is a human, so it would take a minute for it to get going. But here's a big old dinosaur. Will enable an attack here.
Yeah, if not 2 attacks if he wants.
Yeah, it depends how much damage he wants to try and attempt to get through. And it looks like he's just gonna attack with everything. And I guess Jack needs this frog, right?
Yeah,
So
preferably he wants to keep it.
he's not
Cast the
trading off the
Fable.
frog here. He does want to cast his cat.
I mean, I think it's also worth noting that the frog does hold the 5/6 at bay.
Yeah. So in hand, Mitch has Blink of an Eye and an island, but he does have the 2 Discover lands, and we did see those come in clutching in our last match earlier today. There's a Petrify. Okay. All right, join the dead off the top, so that can get rid of any pesky threat here. And at 12 life, there's a good chance he may just fire it off on the flyer here.
Safe bet to kill your opponent's flyers, right?
I know Mitch is a face damage type of guy, and he's not afraid to take a bit of damage to deal damage in return. But playing blue black here, he's probably taking it a little slower than you might otherwise. And that braided net can solve a problem here. You know, it can tap down a creature for 3 turns.
Going to keep the 3/2 locked up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mitch swinging with his 3/3.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think there is a number of players who just wouldn't attack here, but Mister Spaghetti Mitch is not one of those.
Ooh, off the top, a water scout.
Okay, nice draw here. Just one of the better commons that we have in this set.
Looks like Jack's trying to think if he wants to go for a water scout or a fable. He did draw the Order of the Mirror, but sadly he can't cast two things.
Yeah, well,
Actually, no.
that's
I'm sorry, he
no.
can because he
He
has
can
frog.
cast the Wind Scout, and he can cast
Yeah,
the. I believe it's the yeah. That's what I thought it was.
I
Yeah,
always forget the frog has like just tap for whatever you want.
yeah. Right. So now there's 2 flyers, which is. I
Uh,
mean, Mitch between his Join the Dead and his Blink of an Eye and his second braided net that he drew, uh,
it's
he can keep these flyers locked down for at least the foreseeable future.
so you can't lock the flyers down, but Jack can just swing in with the 3/3, and if he wants, he could just probably not next turn. Maybe the turn afterwards, he'll flip the order as another attacker.
Yeah, that one will actually be a pretty effective attacker on this board.
Yeah.
The backside of the order. Mitch does have Join the Dead along with the second braided net, so he might just join the dead here.
Interesting.
So let's just get this off the board. I think he's thinking about how he can use his braided net to win the game rather than how he can use it to not lose.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, he's very proficient at finding the line to win rather than to just stay alive.
So I assume Jack is probably on the defensive here.
Well,
Knowing your opponent
that's
can
that's the benefit of that type of play, of aggressive play and being very very forward is is that you do make your opponent have to be defensive.
now, luckily for Jack, the 3/3 is not going to do anything for a while. He does have Explorer's Cache to try and make a better blocker or a better attacker, whichever one he sees fit. I'm assuming Mitch just pretty much keeps this flyer like just locked down pretty much for the most part.
Well,
And
I
then more
mean,
than
the
likely
braided net
keep our
has an
table.
expiry date, right? It doesn't tap something down forever.
Yeah, but I mean, you just draw cards and just reflip it, put it back third from the top.
Yeah, the Keeper of Fables is a pretty good target for the blink of an eye here.
I don't know if it really is though, because then Jack just replays it and then just relocks down to your 3/3.
I suppose. I think he's not sure what he's thinking about here.
It's a tight position. Braided Net, as good of a card as it is, because we've seen this ability on
Oh
plenty of
well, he
cards.
just he just he just found the lethal route. Like
Interesting. Face damage.
that is what he does. Yeah, we're just sitting here saying, oh, he's going to bounce the opponent's creature. No, you bounce the aura, bounce the pacifism. That
It's
is
been so long, I forgot Blink hits anything.
that is classic spaghetti match. He's actually got 3 braided nets, so
Oh, wow.
he's having a good time with his artifacts here.
So if you're wondering what Jack is splashing for, he does have a Polani's Hatcher in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we did see red. There's like a few white, and that's just really for removal. A random Sigiled Sentinel and a Cloud Guard in here. And then he does
Okay.
have a Thunderous Thunderhawk for the
Yeah.
high end.
So he's just playing a 3 color deck, splashing 1 card of a 4th color. But yeah, Mitch is
He
just
has the
black blue.
Hatcher.
He's just black blue. He's playing black for some snails and some removal. And he's playing blue for a bunch of artifacts and triple Oaken Siren, triple braided net, and pretty low curve as he usually does.
It's like Jack is chock full of interaction. Eaten by piranhas, the lodestone needle, spring loaded. Then it even has a glyph, the glyph bridge.
Pretty good. Yeah, his record, he's at 8-6, so middle of the pack, looking to move up starting next week. Yeah, Mitch has got some flyers, some interaction, some artifacts, and like I said, his record is off to a bit of a slow start here. 4-8. He needs to get some wins in this week here. Triple tithing blade also, but it looks like he's taking out some number of the tithing blades here. Took out one.
Interesting. I would think as long as your opponent's like not on white, like the tithing blades should be fine, right?
Well, he did see white, so
I guess he doesn't know how much white Jack is in.
all right, decent hand here for Mitch. He's got a Guardian Idol, which is a nice little ramp card, a colorless ramp that can also attack your opponent, which I'm sure he appreciates. He's got a braided net, as he's wont to do, with three of them. He's got a Vengeful Strangler, he's got a Waylaying Pirates, and he's got a Morcrit Behemoth, one you don't see too often.
The more I feel like I should know what this card is. What is the behemoth?
It's a 5-mana 7/7 menace, I believe, and you have to sack a creature or pay 7 for it. So it's 5 mana if you sack a creature, I believe. Otherwise, it's 7. So what's Jack doing? We see the locket here.
Yeah, you see the locket and you see the Sonoda on the battlefield. No more lands in hand, but he does have the splashy spellcaster, a battle glyph, a cloud guard, and a sigiled sentinel. Okay. And he did just draw a land for turn. So it looks like he might want to go sentinel and then kill the 3/3.
Yeah, pretty reasonable. So no lands then, is what we're saying.
He drew a tap land for turn.
Okay, and he has the 2/4. He has 2/4 left in his hand and something else.
The old guard and the spellcaster, the splashiest.
Right, so Braided Net is coming down as well as a Vengeful Strangler. So this 4/4 Sentinel is going to be kept in the net for a couple turns here.
Yeah, but Jack's got a 3/2 flyer coming down that's coming in with a buddy.
Yeah, and I mean this Strangler does work well with the Morcrit Behemoth. Being able to sack it, so he can play a 5-mana. I believe it's a 7/7.
Yeah, as it stands now, Jack has no answer for a 7/7.
Yeah, so Mitch has drawn the Tarian's Journal, which is not a card that has impressed me as of yet. But
I want to say the card's not like, I want to say it's not impressive, but I absolutely got wrecked in the pre-release. Like, we were having a pretty good back-to-back, and then he top decked the Journal, and then the game was just kind of over from there.
It's a 7/6 actually, the Behemoth.
7/6 is still a lot of stats.
It is large, yeah. I had it. I opened it in the pre-release, and I was playing black, and I read it the first time. I was like, oh, this seems great. And then I read it again just to be sure because I had a lot of words on it, and I saw that it said you can only activate it as a sorcery to sack things. And I'm like, the whole point of a sack outlet is that you can do it in response to removal or a combat trick that's going to blow you out. Yeah. So I just opted not to put the card in my deck. And I have not put it in a deck since. So the backside is extremely powerful, but it's a heck of a lot of work to
get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack's got I guess he's casting Spellcaster here. The other option either was to crack the locket or crack the land, but I
don't think he can sacrifice the locket. You need 4 mana in a combination of white and green.
Yeah.
So he can make with the Captivating Cave, he can make one of those, but he needs another green or a white source. Right, well, here's a Visage of Dread, which you don't really like to draw in these type of board state.
Oh, is that the look at the hand, flip into a 5/4?
Yep.
A little late for that one. It is nice though that it's just discarded, so your opponent can't get it back later.
Right, well, Spaghetti Mitch doing like he does. Are we gonna
Jack is
No,
Got a block
he's
here. I guess he's going to play it safe.
yeah. So Mitchel's got to join the dead here. He can
There.
cast. Uh,
I,
he has to. He basically his other cards are the Journal and the Visage of Dread. So he basically, if he's planning to cast Join the Dead, he just has to pass here.
yeah, I assume the ideal target's the 4/4. At that point, your
Yeah,
7/6 is definitely racing way quicker.
he's thinking about casting his Visage for no value, just to turn it into a 5/4 at some point. But
I don't know if I like that because like your opponent has no cards in hand. You have a braided net, and you also have Join the Dead.
and he
It
has a
looks like
Guardian
you're
Idol that can be a 2/2 in a pinch.
you're pretty set up just to kind of like win off the back of the behemoth.
I think that's what he's counting on. And I remember he mentioned that he was playing that card the other day, and I was like, well, first of all, what is that card? And then I had to look it up to remember, and I said, that card seems bad. And he's like, no, it works. It works. Trust me, it does work in my deck. I was like, okay. I don't knock it until I see it, and I'm
It's
seeing it this
thinking,
game, but we'll see if it gets him all the way there.
yeah, Jack's thinking. I guess he wants to activate the cave. He's trying to figure out where to put it, and it's a very tricky situation.
All right. So he's gonna lock down this 4/4 here once again, and he's got one more activation on his net. So
I
no
guess the
attacks
frog
means
is
that
prime target.
Jack is setting up some blocking here.
Yeah. Even with all blockers, like we know the frog is definitely not seeing the end of these days.
Yeah, so he's just gonna, as he does, go to attacks. He's run an island for turn, so not much help. A swamp would have been better, so he can have join the dead and be able to cast one of his other black spells.
I find it interesting he wouldn't just kill the frog before attacks because you know Jack is just going to use it as a blocker where you can get two other creatures instead.
Looks like okay. He could also use the net offensively if he wants.
I feel like there's no point of using the last counter on the net though, not for this.
He's deciding whether he wants to attack here. I think his instinct says to attack, and then maybe
Well,
he's thinking,
I mean, your
I'm getting
opponent's
attacked
cards are
back
on the
for a
table
lot
there,
now.
right? Well, not really. Like your opponent can't even attack back if they really want to.
Right, so he's thinking about just using join the dead here before the frog can be declared.
I'm definitely into that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this gives Jack like absolutely no blocks that are reasonably. Uh,
exactly. Like I would think Jack might take one more seven if anything.
I guess Jack probably should have just put a put the two counters on something, but he said he'd rather leave up. He figured he'd rather leave up the death touch, which is reasonable, but sort of comes back to bite him here because now he's got a 7/6 menace and he has to block every single turn.
This is not going to help.
No, not looking amazing here. Okay,
It's on top.
that's a card.
Wow. a
I mean,
little sooner, but there's
it's
no. Well,
bodies.
there
It's
is
a
green because of the cave.
it's a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
Well, he has green from the locket as well.
Also the locket. I'm not used to seeing lockets right now.
I wasn't used to seeing lockets in their own format most of the time. So he's got another discard spell here in Skullcap Snail. So he's got two discard spells in hand. Not
Yikes.
exactly where you wanna be.
Jack might have a chance to crawl back in
Oh
this.
yeah, Mitch needs to get the game over with quick, but
Yeah.
it's the 7/6 helps, but Jack can throw bodies in front of it for a couple turns here.
Needs one more turn.
And the braided net no longer does anything until you activate it again.
That's got to be the one downfall of the braided net. Like, you really don't want to be flipping it half the time. At least I find if you're going to flip it, you're typically looking for a way to end the game.
You have to be in a much better board state than he is now.
Yeah.
It's kind of good like
What,
in a stalled board, but I wouldn't call this exactly a race because Mitch hasn't been attacked for a few turns, but in
But
this type of
it's,
situation, it's probably not worth it. But I guess these draws have just been quite bad here with the discard spells that are just not effective at this point in the game.
like, had it came down earlier before the 7/6, it'd be so much better.
Yeah, like here's Visions of Dread, here's Tarian's Journal. I suppose you could just flip the journal. Flipping the journal is not half bad here. The skullcap snail is got to be considerably worse than the backside of it, but it's like he's going to craft here instead.
I'm curious if you're Jack, right, with your opponent pretty much dumping most of their hand.
Yeah,
If Mitch goes to swing, does Jack just make sure the behemoth is dead?
I think you have to, especially with Hatcher coming down to just take over the board completely. So yeah, so he did not flip the journal because he wants to draw cards from this braided. I'm gonna say Queepew, but don't quote me on that.
Chance you had to swing Mitch is kind of over without some help from the top.
Yeah, there's a lot going on the other side. All right, poking in here. Here comes the land. A hidden necropolis off the top. So he's gonna draw I think 3 cards.
Yep, because it counts itself before it shuffles.
So he's got Deadweight. He's got another Skullcap Snail, and he's got a Dusk Legion Zealot. And it
I don't.
tapped his black source. He's got all black cards in hand, so he can only cast one more of them. Probably the Dusk Legion Zealot or the Deadweight on the 2/2 flyer.
It's gonna be rough. I guess if you're Jack, do you just put the counters on the 2/2 flyer?
I suppose. Yeah, like Mitch, he hasn't really drawn a creature since he played that behemoth, right? He has just
Yeah.
not drawn
I
a
mean,
creature. He's drawn what 3 creatures this game. He had the Waylaying Pirates, the Strangler, and the Behemoth. Like when you draw 3 creatures in a game, it's very difficult to win. Maybe not in constructed, but in limited, you know, if you're drawing 3 creatures, it's a
right.
rough go. And I was just playing a 2 mana 1/1 with no text box, unfortunately.
I think the last time you get away with like pretty much a no creature deck was Lord of the Rings, the blue red pinger deck.
But you put creatures in play with a mass, right?
Well, I mean, you even have to if you played like Theory.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, there's a way to play the
I'm
deck.
just saying in your average game of limited, you can't really win by casting 3 creatures, and now he's actually just dead with that petrify.
Yeah.
I guess the petrify was off the top there.
Oh, I mean, he had no cards and.
Yeah, yeah. So we went Hatcher into petrify into um, instantaneous death here. Just the draws for Jack coming through, the draws for Mitch just abysmal in the late game.
Sometimes you need a bit of help from the top.
Well, like I said, 3 creatures is not going to cut it here.
You're not wrong. That 7/6 was prepped to run over the game until Polani's Hatcher just kind of closed the door.
Yeah. All right. So funny that Mitch has a on color mythic that is in his sideboard, the ancient one.
I don't blame him.
That's the 2
It's
mana
fair.
hit. No, that card's really good, but it's a super late game card.
Yeah.
So I guess he's not interested. He's even playing these control-y type colors, he still wants to be assertive, as is his nature. Um, yeah, reasonable little hand here for Mitch. Almost for sure going to keep. What's Jack got over there?
Oh, no. An island, a Bramble Familiar, a Guide, the Selesnya Locket, the Keeper of Fables, and a freaking Polani's Hatcher.
Oh, okay.
There's no red, though, as of right
Oh,
now. So it's
Bramble. Oh,
not.
I love this card. This
Yeah.
card was. I have fond memories. This was in my Woe deck that got to the top 8. So that card was very good. The card was in my
What's
deck
it, what's the
basically
unit?
from day one.
I think it's pretty good. That's the guy that can dig you through your deck for like what creatures?
Yeah, for 7 mana, you can look at the tops or mill 7 and put a creature into play.
I think it's pretty good to me. He's no Shigeki, but he's good enough. Shigeki at home, if you will.
Um, it's less of a removal magnet, I find, but yeah, it's different enough that I probably wouldn't compare them. But nice hand for Mitch here. He's got a vampire here from Strixhaven, a callous blood mage here, so you can you either get a pest or you draw a card and lose a life, or you exile a graveyard. So pretty relevant in this set. Probably the exile clauses come up probably later in the game.
Hmm.
Seeker of Sunlight, not my favorite card, but I guess reasonable mana sink.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to play, right?
Yeah, so in hand, Mitch has a Rampaging Spiketail, a Waylaying Pirates, a Braided Net, since he does have three, and a couple of offset cards. So he's got Scatter Ray, one in a blue, counter a creature or artifact, unless they pay four, and a Cast Down, which is a very simple removal spell. Destroys any non-legend for one in a black.
I wonder if he's gonna hold up the scatter ray. I wonder.
Yeah, looks like he is. But the thing is, he has the Cast Down too, so
I feel like he doesn't care about the 2/2 right now.
Hatcher
Jack.
is
Uh oh.
getting
Uh oh.
getting scattered here.
Yes, this is brutal.
Yeah, and hard to play around because there's no common that counters a creature in this set for black and a blue.
Yeah.
You know, it's for blue, yes, but not for black blue. So
I think you have
couldn't.
to be wary about that, though, right? Like, Mitch didn't need to tap the siren, but he did. So it kind of tells you there's something.
Yeah, but could be a removal. He saw a bounce spell. Here comes a cat, but I suspect that might get cast down or just locked down with the net if he doesn't feel the need to. If he draws an untapped
No,
land, there's a good chance we're getting a dinosaur coming into play here. The
I feel like you just
Spiketail.
cast it down, to be honest.
Yeah, cast down,
I feel
and
like,
he still has the braided net activation if he wants it.
yeah, I feel like Mitch wants to save the Braden net to kind of like close this game out.
Yeah, he's got a
So, I mean, like,
cataract, and now the Spiketail can come into play next turn and do
yeah,
its
Jack
thing.
has the River Herald Glide, still the Cloud Guard, and he drew a cooped up a turn or two ago. And now there's Mitch is going to see the Saw Blade on top.
Okay, yeah. So Jack's sort of building out a board here. They're about even on cards now, but Mitch did have the advantage on board, but looks like like I said, Jack's flying his way back into it. So interesting choice here. He can play the Spiketail, or he can rip the last card out of Jack's hand here with a Skullcap Snail.
Which is interesting because the last card is cooped up. So if he does play the Spike Tail, like knowing Mitch, I just have a strong feeling he might go for the Spike Tail because he loves face damage.
There it is.
I don't know though. I think no, he's gonna go for the
I
snail.
feel like
Oh,
it's.
he did it! What?
I feel like it's just too. It's just too mana inefficient to cast the Skullcap Snail there.
I might though. So like, me and Mitch were on a team together, and like, you know, Mitch would normally say, "Hey, listen, if you have the chance to like, get the last card of their hand, I might play off curve just to do that." But that's interesting.
It depends on the state of the game.
Oh, Jack only blocked because I guess he forgot that it
Oh,
gives
he actually.
indestructible.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that block. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? Maybe he knows something we don't. But
Yeah, I
turns
mean Jack's
out,
still in a pretty good position here though. He's got Saw Blades for the 3/3 and cooped up for the 5/6.
no, Mitch is sad. The last card's out of his hand.
Right?
And the Spike Tail is locked down. I mean, Mitch is still at 19 and he has the braided net here. I think he should be tapping down the 4-2 here.
Yeah.
Well, in comes the raccoon. And Guardians of Koilos off the top. That's not one you see very often. It's a 5 mana 4/4 artifact from Dominaria. When it enters battlefield, you can return a historic permanent you control to its owner's hand, being an artifact, a legend, or a saga. So you can
Where's this
bounce
card
your.
from again?
It's from Dominaria. It was a draft chaff common that was almost never played.
Yeah, I'm like when you said Guardian of the Colos, I'm thinking of the 3/3 bird. I think it was
Nope.
Guardian of the Colos Rock or something from Bro.
It was
Wasn't it?
Koilos Rock, which was also
Yeah.
also another Kofflerism award winner.
Why is that?
the the Koilos rock. Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This was like a draft chaff that was almost never cast, but with 3 Tithing Blade in his deck and the braided nets that run out of counters, you know, pretty funky little card here. I'm kind of into it.
You said it's a 4/4, right?
It's a 5 mana 4/4.
Ooh.
It's a good stats by that era's measure, I suppose. But even
Yeah,
that, it was like almost never played in Dominaria. Just there wasn't enough things to pick up, like cheap things to pick up for value.
Aw. I was hoping Mitch would just discover.
Why do you need to discover when you can play the Guardians of Koilos? First time ever getting cast in the feature match. Maybe the last time ever getting cast
Yeah, I
in
was
the
gonna
feature
say it might be the last.
matches. I can tell you for certain. I mean, I've done a lot of feature matches with a lot of cards from a lot of different sets, but this one's the first time appearance for this one. Of
Interesting.
that,
So
I
off the
am
top,
certain.
we have a Huatley's Final Strike.
Oh, well, that'll. Okay, so but he's offering the trade even with that in hand.
Because I believe he knows Mitch isn't going to trade.
Nope. Mitch doesn't block unless he absolutely has to.
Which is fair. I mean, I wouldn't blot that either. You have Braden Net coming back down.
Yeah. So he's resetting the net here. He still has one in the air poking in every turn.
Yeah, I would assume he just swings with the 1/2 here.
I mean, he could attack with his 4/4 if he wants, but
Yeah.
if he was fine trading the 4/4 for the 4/2, he would not have. He would have just blocked. Oh no, the Guardians.
Yeah, that's
Well,
just a little too greedy.
they came, they saw, they died. But they gave us a memorable moment because, like I said, uh, probably might not see that one again
So what's the card Mitch drew for turn?
unless we get Mitch back in the feature match. He has a hidden cataract, so nothing of any
Oof.
consequence to this combat phase here.
Might be able to back in.
So yeah, it was a bit of a rough go to use the Braden Net offensively, but then have your attacker killed. So now he's free to just get attacked for 4 here.
Oh. We have a staunch
Okay,
crewmate that's going to look for a bit more gas.
let's see what it can discover.
Um, Crickets. There's
No,
nothing.
no, no crew at all. Well, he just got a bit more stauncher because he's got no friends here. Blink of an eye, okay.
So I do like the fact that Jack exiled the 5/6 after what happened game one, realizing that the blink of an eye is real.
Well, blink of an eye just got drawn, so imagine that. He figured it out. Well, the last time I believe it was it a cooped up or was it a petrify last time?
I want to say it was a Petrify.
Yeah. Right, so he's going to discover here, and he gets a Visage of Dread. So again, these discard spells showing up at the wrong times here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the downside of these cards, right? It's just sometimes they just show up, and it's like because he has I think he has 3 snails and 2 visages, which I mean that gives you a good chance of having it in your opening hand, but it also gives you a good chance of drawing it late when it's dead.
Yeah, I'd say
So
the one thing we haven't seen from Mitch is like a way to make use of these snails.
well, that is a cat in a suit right there. Well, he has the 7/6 that he can sack, but nothing too much. So we see Jack crack the lock at end of turn for some cards here.
Yeah, the last card he has a Petrify.
Okay, so it looks like this game is progressing in Jack's favor presently. But Mitch still has some resources here on board. He has some things he can do. But definitely the creatures are tipped towards Jack here.
Okay. I was curious if Mitch would block or not.
Well, I think he's getting too low to not block.
Yeah.
So
If he
River
can't
Herald
develop,
Scout off the
yeah.
top, not really exactly what he's looking for, but let's see how he goes about this turn. He does have the blink of an eye to bounce something, but I found that bounce, like there's a lot of ETBs in this set, and the bounce is not as appealing.
That's what I found.
It's just it seems like all the sets nowadays are just like they just put like it like I remember in WoW I never wanted to bounce anything. Like half the time it was just like, do I really want to bounce our adventure creature that's about to kill me? Like I sometimes you had to, but yeah, bounce has just gotten a bit worse over the years. All the creatures do something favorable.
That's what I felt in my league match, or I did a practice match earlier, and my opponent had the 3/3 blink dude, Geropter, whatever his name is. And I'm just like, I don't want to bounce this with the saw blades on his side of the field. That's a feel bad.
Which one is that?
It's the 3/3. I want to say from Marching Machines, the white one that flies. When it ETBs, it blinks something and
Oh, it's a
brings it back.
guardian of Gearper.
Geropter, something like that.
Guardian
Gearper.
of Gearper. Get your made up place names correct, please.
We'll have you being the corrections guy. I'm terrible at names. Terrible.
You need to learn how to pronounce nonsense words properly. All right, it's a very important part of this job.
So let's see
just
here.
just
I
just
mean,
just utter nonsense words. Yeah, blink of an eye is gonna have to hit something here. It's the saw blades, I guess.
really?
I mean, it's a 5/5. He has no defense against it.
That's gonna feel terrible.
So he's got a 6/4 here. The great mistake. I'll decline from attempting to speak whatever conglomeration of
How do you
letters is.
authorize that?
Yeah. Whatever that word's supposed to be, we'll just call it the great mistake.
I believe the thing is definitely getting the petrified.
It's
One
got to
hundred
be.
percent.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
target for that. Anyway.
It's funny, even with how late this game is going, he still can't bring it back from the graveyard if it ever got there.
Oh,
That's one thing I found.
The Guardians are back, but now they've crafted a Queepew.
Oh my gosh, we have a threefold Thunderhawk
Oh
off the
boy.
top. Luckily, there's
Not presently castable based on what I see
yeah.
from the lands, but
I don't think he needs it. Like he's gonna over the edge here, probably on the 1/1.
yeah, that's just gonna put the game well quite literally over the edge here because he's got an attack with a 4/2, a 2/2, and
Oh
now
no, he's gonna get rid of the
basically forcing a chump here. So he just got rid of the card draw and just said, let me give you minimal options for your next turn. So his
Interesting.
options are chump and go to 4 or trade and go to 1. Both quite bad here.
Yeah, you got to block.
Well, he's blocking something. Right, Guardian Idol, which enters the battlefield tapped, is not really an option here.
Then Mitch is gonna need a lot of help. A lot. I mean, he could flip
He's
over the artifact.
he's just gonna craft and hope that there's no removal here, and
Yeah.
that he goes to 1.
Lucky for him, there indeed is no removal.
All right, so it's still bad. Like he's still going to be at 1 with 2 creatures attacking him the turn after that. So it's all not favorable here. But yeah, he said, "Let me make this thing. Next turn I can discover, maybe catch up here."
Yeah, I guess Mitch's greatest hit would be
Mill 2
the black.
lands. Mill 2 lands, which is good. I'm not sure he has anything that fits that description, but of course the counters just make this game out of
Jack says
reach.
you are just dead. You are just dead.
That's what that cave does. It just sits there and you forget about it because the cave comes down on turn 3 and you just forget about it and then it just puts counters on something and there goes the game. So a fun match here and we see Jack taking it down here. So continuing to perform well in league and we'll see you all next week.